If I traded it all, if I gave it all.
Welcome back. My next guest has been on the show with me before. I have with me Dr. Mark Engleman. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do. You've got a lot of kudos behind you. Engleman Health. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here again. I'm excited about this show. I love doing this. So much to talk about. Quickly, it's a fabulous time of year. I'm a Buckeye, so you can imagine how excited I am about the Fiesta Bowl. And the Cardinals are doing unbelievable. The season's great. So my career, in a short summary, was I was studied internal medicine. I was going to be a cardiologist. I got hooked in the emergency room. I loved the activity. I was a sort of an action junkie at that age. And so I loved the drama. So I did that at St. Joseph's and became the medical director of the department for 23 years, built it into one of the top emergency departments in the world. Never had a lawsuit filed in 23 years nor a complaint. And then finished that, did some other things, developed and built a network of hospitals, first bilingual hospitals in Mexico, which are still in existence. And then got very interested in stem cell medicine when it started, which it's really only 10, 15 years old. Found a fellowship in that, the only one in the world, and studied under some wonderful people and obtained that fellowship. There's 22 of us in the world. Got very interested, reinterested in cellular biology and why people get sick and why they're healthy and why they're sick and why they weren't sick a year ago and now they're sick. What happens? How do we age? Is age a disease or is it a process? If it's a process, which it is, then we should be able to go through all the steps in that process and see what's working and what isn't working and what we might be able to do to slow it down, not to prevent death, because it comes to all of us, but not to fall apart on the way. And so I got very interested in that, and I studied that for about 5 years and got a couple advanced degrees in that, and then decided to open up my own institute so that I could practice medicine the way I thought it should be practiced, which is very personalized and individualized. And so I opened the Engleman Health Institute about 2.5 years ago now. And it's just been the most wonderful thing I've ever... You know how life sometimes leads you to places that you didn't have any idea you'd be?
It happened to me 8 years ago.
It's the same. You know what I'm talking, and I'm sure everybody in your audience does too. And you sort of, if you leave your heart open and your mind open, you sort of are led to where you're supposed to be. And this is where I'm supposed to be. I love going to work, and I'd do this for free if I didn't have to make a living and pay for my expenses, but I love this.
Now, I want you to tell everybody what you mean by personalized medicine.
Well, what I do is integrative medicine. So the allopathic medicine model is you get sick, you go to the doctor, you have a symptom, you get treated for that symptom, and then come back when you have your next symptom. And that is a model, and it works, reasonably well, but it's not preventative. It's not proactive. And then there's the naturopathic model, which is the other side, which is, really pharmaceuticals are a bunch of crooks. I mean, they don't completely believe that, but basically there's a natural way, and the body wants to heal itself, and it has lots of mechanisms to do that. All we have to do is give it the opportunity. I believe in both. So I really think there's a lot of wisdom to that. I prefer not to reach for my prescription pad, but if I need to, I will. But I'm very comfortable on the naturopathic side and also the mainstream medicine side. And then the personalized part of it is the old model of medicine is on its way to being dead. So that's why this show, I sort of categorize this as the healthcare revolution. It's so personalized now that I could actually, if I wanted to do the genetics, I could actually predict what's going to happen to somebody, or not what's going to happen, what their propensity is for that to happen, the likely that it might happen. That's 20% of somebody's outcome, only 20%. When I was started out, they'd say, well, it's your genetics, nothing you can do about it. So it would have been 80 to 90%. But what they found is those genes sit there and they have to be played and they have to be stimulated or made quiet. And everything we do around those genes, called epigenomics or epigenetics, has a huge influence on our outcome. So my story that I always tell is when people come in and they, somebody's overweight, and this young lady is overweight, and she goes, I just don't understand it. My friend Sally over there eats the same thing I eat, and she is like perfect, and I eat it, and I'm fat. And I go, well, do me a favor, go home and grab your family album, picture album, and bring it back. And they bring it back, and everybody's fat. And I go, congratulations, you inherited the fat gene. Does it mean you have to be fat? No. It means that you can't eat what Sally eats. Your body's not made that way. But you can certainly do something about that. Applies to high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, everything. This is really the new medicine. And so we now have the capacity to look inside your cells, specifically yours, not somebody else's, and say, here's what your cells are doing. And here's what they need. Here's how they're using vitamins and minerals and oxidants and so forth and so on. And so it doesn't say that this is too high or too low. What it says is that Carol needs more vitamin B12, and she needs a lot more, or zinc, or whatever it is. And the way blood tests are done, the way they're done now, in non-functional, that's called functional medicine. How do I function? How are my cells functioning? The old model was you take blood, they draw it, they'd spin it down, all the red cells, white cells, and platelets would fall to the bottom, and you'd look at the water and say, well, here's what's in the water. Well, what do I care what's in the water? The water's outside the cell. I don't really care. I want to know what's going on inside the cell. That's where the action is. That's the personalized part. So
we're going to open up the lines to the audience.
Okay.
Hopefully we can have time for somebody to call in and ask a question. I'd like to say the doc is in to answer any of your questions. He is here live with us right now. Our lines are open here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You're also offering for everyone to get a free consultation with you, which is $100 a value.
Yeah,
and what does that mean, your consultation? Because it's a lot more than just talking.
Well, one, it's hard for me to not get excited when I meet somebody new. So I try and confine it to a half an hour or whatever, but it's always longer. And my other people are always saying but it's basically come in and let's talk about your issues. And let's see, I'm not going to go over all your lab tests, but let's find out if you and I can work together and that we can come up with some solutions for you if you want to be my patient. And so I go through the things and I make recommendations, not based on whether I'm the right person or maybe somebody else is a better fit. I doubt it, but it's possible.
So our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. We're going to go to a break soon. That's how fast this thing goes.
That's fast.
But what I want to do is give you one hint that, right now it is the holidays, okay? There's a lot of people out there that are overindulging, me included. Mm-hmm. So, but what's your tip before we go to before we go to a break?
The big tip is first of all, don't go to a party when you're ravenously hungry. That's number one. And the other one is try and bring food, because they usually ask you to bring something that's healthy. So that at least one thing at the party is going to be healthy.
Right.
And then really work on eating that. And then this is a part of the whole process is be mindful about how you eat. Don't stuff your face. Chew your food. Nobody wants to have you chew and spit all over them when you're talking to them. Chew your food and give some dignity to the food that you're eating. It gave itself up for you.
I love that. I've never heard that before. His phone number to call direct, it's 602-466-3226. The website is Engleman. It's Engelman, health.com. Call in here. The doc is here to answer your questions. 602-277-5369. become a revolution. That's why you had said you wanted this song. Go ahead.
Well, it's the revolution. It's from the late 60s, you know, when everybody was talking about revolution. And I never forgot the song. I was hoping I could have a show that one day I'd be able to use it.
And
so,
you do. That's
we
what
are.
we are. We're doing this here.
Right.
We're going to open up the lines. Our lines are open here. The doc is in to answer any of your questions. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It doesn't have to be weight. We know you tend to talk about weight because this is the time of year and everybody had issues with that. But it could be anything that you are dealing with health-wise. He can help you. He can answer some questions at 602-277-5369. You know, before we came back on, you were saying that you also want to give people a free body composition. So you're getting entered in to win what do you do it? A consultation. But also, this is a body composition that you're going to get along with it. That's another $150 value. Entered in to win. Go ahead and tell us, what does that mean? What is a body comprehensive test?
Well, it's a bioimpedance test. It just has 2 electrodes, and it measures how long electricity takes. But what it shows is what percentage of a person is fat, what percentage is muscle, how much body water do they have, what's their hip-to-waist ratio, which is a marker for cardiovascular disease, and then what's their amount of calories that they burn on their regular day to keep their weight exactly even. So if it's 4,000 and you want to lose pounds, you go to 2,500. That's 1,500 calories a day down, and fat weighs 3,500 calories, so you'd lose a pound about every 2 days.
Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. We're going to try and get a question answered on the air while you're on if we have time. Okay, let's go back to some of the things that you wanted to talk about before you came on. Go ahead.
So the big one is, my sister, who's a great psychiatrist, used to tell me that everybody sort of couldn't wait for the holidays and dreaded them at the same time, because every grudge in the family that Uncle, Herman and Aunt Sally would get in an argument at Thanksgiving. They might drink a little too much and so forth and so on. But not this Thanksgiving, and not this Christmas, and not this New Year's. The mess the world is in has changed the paradigm of how what people rank important. And slowly but surely it's become relationships. It's not the new car. It's not the fancy sweater. It's not the big watch. It's the fact that they have a loved one, and we talked about it here now. And how it applies to what I do is those are the magic moments. That is what's important. So you should give somebody the gift of health, which means I want to do this year after. I want to see my grandkids. I want to have my kids grow up and graduate. So take control of your health. It's not somebody else's responsibility. I can help you, but you need to feel like you're in control. I had a patient today that said, I sort of took it for granted that everything was either going to be bad or good, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. And he's had significant health problems, and you wouldn't know it looking at him. And he said, "Doctor, will you please help me? I'm ready to take control of my own health." And that's sweet, sweet music to my ears.
Now, this is exactly what I think everybody today, that's what you wanted to do, is you wanted to come on here to talk to people, to give them the opportunity to be able to take control, because it isn't doing it the old way anymore. Well, more and more people today are leaning towards your kind of medicine.
That's what they want.
Right.
They want somebody, and it's not all roses. Your doctor, my dad was a great guy and a doctor, and his dad, grew up in the Depression and so forth, was a salesman. He told my father, and my father told me, remember this when you become a doctor. My dad told me, your patients are doing you a favor by coming to see you. You're not doing them a favor by seeing them. And I never forgot that. When people come and they put their health and their life and their family in my hands, how humbling that is for somebody. And I take the responsibility very seriously. And I walk people through their life, the good parts and the parts where they're heading towards the end and so forth. But I'm their friend. You know.
Well, we have everyone, and I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show to get entered in to win. Not only is the consultation, which that's $100 value, free to you, also this free body composition test, that's $150 value. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can call in, you can ask questions, you can just do this. If we can get you on, we'll get you in to be able to ask a question. You can also check him out on his website. It is Engleman, Engelman Health.com, or you can call their office direct at 602-466-3226. What else, Doc?
Well, I think those are the main things, and I think the issue of taking control of your own health and that you absolutely can determine your own outcome. But that you should see your doctor as your partner. You know, I don't have a magic pill. I'm not God. You know, but I can help if you're willing to do the work as well as I am. It means probably changing some lifestyle habits, and a lot of it has to do with changing your mental attitude about things. Stress is killing us, absolutely killing us, and it's insidious because we you know, I see people and everything else looks good, but I look at their stress levels because we can measure those hormones coming from the adrenal gland, and they're the fight or flight hormones. And you run around and have those things elevated for a long time, you won't last very long, and you'll start to fall apart. So part of it is changing attitude, and I'm involved in that too. That's a big part of things.
Well, when people are coming to you and you say today, you said before you came, well, not before you come on, but on your last segment that you were saying how you don't want to just take out your pad and write out a prescription. That's not what it's about. So someone comes to you and they are dealing with whatever their ailments are. What ways do you go about in healing them then?
Well, we have the most advanced testing in the world. Not we don't do the testing, but I know who the people are that do it. So we send specimens around. We use Cleveland Clinic's Heart Lab. We use a group that used to be at Harvard's Heart Profile and so forth. And what happens is these illnesses leave, they're like Hansel and Gretel. They leave little tracks behind. So it's not like one day somebody doesn't have any problem with their artery and the next day they wake up and their arteries are all clogged up. You have to go from step to step to step. Every one of those steps leaves a little clue that most of the doctors just either don't know about or they don't care about. But the sharp doctors, the doctors that are now changing the world, do. And they basically can say, okay, here's what we need. You need antioxidants. You need more omega-3s. You need to change your diet. You should do exercise. But this exercise works for you. And they now have the genetics to say, nutrigenomics says, no, Brussels sprouts aren't good for you. Brussels sprouts aren't good for you. You in particular.
That's a good thing.
Now, they may be, but they may not. So the idea that one size fits all is not necessarily true. And the genetics now are so specific that you could tell somebody, you should get on a bicycle, but you should go run on a treadmill. That's how specific they are now. So you tailor the program to that person, and then you monitor them. And for weight loss, weight management, so much of it is support. You know, is they just want somebody to go, yeah, you lost a pound, way to go, you know, and pat them on. Everybody, who doesn't want that? And so they don't want to let themselves down, but they really don't want to let you down.
But they also think they need guidance. I think that's the key about that, too.
Yeah.
Doctor, it's not, you know, we all want to lose it. We want it. We got it on. It took us, you know, however long to get it on, but that we want it off right away.
Right.
But it is about guidance. It's about telling us what to eat, a program. Do you have a program at your office?
We do.
Okay, go ahead.
We have a program that's specific for each person. We have our own nutritionist. You know, she helps design the diet, and the diet is involved in whatever your problem is, your underlying problem, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, whatever it is. It's very specific for that.
Well, you know what? The holidays are here, and we are all indulging. He said, chew your food, respect your food.
Respect your food. Your food gave it up for you. You know, think about the Indians and what they used to do when they killed a buffalo. They cried because they knew they had to end a life to help themselves. Show reverence for life.
I'm going to let everybody call throughout the rest of the show. You're getting entered in to win. It's a free consultation. That's a $100 value, as well as the free body composition. That's going to tell you exactly where you are and how within your body. That's a $150 value. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Check them out at Engleman, Engelman, health.com.